Hello, my friends, and welcome. In this week's episode, I will read through a post made by Omnipotent with rumored information of Elden Ring. In stark contrast to my interview with Miyazaki, this information is to be taken lightly and holds no official capacity. I want to take one moment to name the winner of the Steelbook giveaway, and that is the user Gorilla. Congrats! A big thank you to all the fine folks who participated. For those who got skunked or weren't able to enter, fear not, I have many more trinkets to give away soon. Omnipotent is a ResetEra poster that has a track record for leaking relevant information on upcoming games. To be forward, I don't know much about him myself, but I find his posts on Elden Ring interesting and potentially valid, so I decided to have him on the show. Let's jump right in. Omni. In interviews, Miyazaki mentions the biggest change to the formula is being set in an open world. Isn't Dark Souls open world as well? Remember when you first played Dark Souls? And how cool it was traversing the world? Especially once you got past the early areas and human settlements like Undead Parish. Entering Sin's Fortress, the Tomb of the Giants, and Anor Londo? All these incredible and varying locales that made this world feel much larger than it really is. And the scale at which things were designed making you feel like this world was truly not built for the likes of you. It's something I definitely miss from later titles. But after the shininess is worn off, you're able to start seeing this massive world wasn't really all that massive, and was realistically quite small. I want you to think about that while also thinking about Miyazaki's quote. We want to do things we weren't able to do with Dark Souls. Imagine a game in which that illusion was able to be made a lot more real. Now open your eyes to Elden Ring. Okay, that's a bit vague. Do you have any details on how FromSoft might achieve that? Due to the nature of the game being open world, it's also able to more effectively capitalize on the concept of being able to see an area long before you reach it, as well as looking back across the land to places you've already been, seeing how places connect and whatnot. This is one of Dark Souls' most charming elements, and it's been brought forward into Elden Ring in both a more natural way and on a much larger and more effective scale. And I'd imagine that's a design element that most will appreciate, as I certainly do. You'll be traveling across the world and seeing places long before you're able to reach them. Imagine a scenario in which you arrive at the staircase, like the one in the dungeon in Dark Souls 3. Looking out across a vast distance to see a castle like Archdragon Peak. But instead of having to physically transport yourself there, you know that eventually you'll be able to cross that vast distance, bridge that gap and reach the castle to find what lies inside. The increased scale and scope is a hugely important pillar of this title. That sounds awesome. What can you tell me about the bridge of land that spans that gap? One of the pillars of design in Elden Ring is to create a meaningful and fully realized world, which doesn't mean collectathons, random and sparse pack of copy-pasted enemies, and a lot of landmass simply for the sake of having a lot of landmass. What's important is creating a variety of experiences for you to encounter and face throughout your journey, while also making the world feel real and alive, like a place you can truly immerse yourself in, to lose hours to, and to a massively greater degree than in previous titles, as well as filling the world with interesting landmarks to draw your attention and help you familiarize yourself with your surroundings, but also points of interest along your journey from one goal to another. Areas will connect to one another like Dark Souls, and I think it's worth mentioning that they are aware of the problems of the infamous Iron Keep to Earthen Peak, and the increased space allows things like that to be avoided. It's not just about having a super large massive open field, but also a degree of verticality, as well as natural transitions between the more open sections and the less open sections, like castles and ruins and whatnot. When I mentioned Scotland in the original E3 post, this is what I was referring to. The landscapes of Scotland served as an inspiration for Elden Ring's landscapes. That being said, you'll be sure to see plenty of cool fantasy locales. While aside from there being a number of different locales, This is a great opportunity to talk about another massive change. A departure from static worlds to a more meaningful and active one. Whoa, sorry, I have to stop you there. That's all the time we have for this week. Tune back in next Sunday evening to hear more of Omnipotent's post. Have fun and stay safe, my friends.